All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about something that's, well, it's one of the most profound, maybe one of the most mysterious parts of being human. The incredibly vivid visions people often have at the very end of their lives. You know, for so long, we haven't really known what to make of them. Are they a comfort or just a mystery? And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of the matter. It comes from a study of hospice nurses. I mean, the very people on the front lines who see this every day. And what did they say? They said these visions felt meaningful, you know? Not like some clinical symptom of a failing body, but like something truly important was going on.
So that's the big question we're going to tackle, right? What are these things? Are they just hallucinations? You know, the brain's equivalent of static as the signal fades? Or, and this is the fascinating part, could they be something more? Maybe the brain's final, beautiful, coherent story?
To even start answering that, we have to look way, way back. Because it turns out this isn't just a modern thing. These experiences are shockingly consistent, going back, well, throughout all of recorded history.
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely not a new thing. You can dig into ancient texts from Mesopotamia, from the Zoroastrians, the Greeks, the Romans. It doesn't matter. The core themes, they're all there. It's almost uncanny how similar they are. So we're not talking about just a bunch of old myths. This is a real, consistent pattern in the human story.
And when you actually put them side by side, the overlap is just, it's incredible. Look at this. Seeing loved ones who've passed on. Universal, both in ancient stories and in today's hospice care. That feeling of being guided somewhere, yep, that's a common thread too. But here's the kicker, the really important part. Both then and now, these experiences are described as being coherent. They make sense. This isn't chaotic delirium. The pattern is just, it's undeniable.
So let's break down what people are actually seeing. The most common one is what you might call the visitors. And these are not just random faces from a dream. No, people consistently see their parents, their spouse, people who are incredibly important to them. And the key thing here is how they appear. Realistic, solid, and almost always reassuring. They're there to help, like guides. It's nothing like the weird, distorted figures you might get in a regular dream.
Okay, so you've got the visitors, and then you've got the journey. This is another huge one. People talk about feeling like they're traveling, moving along a path. And there's often this symbolic crossing point, you know, a bridge, a river, a gate, a door. You see these symbols of transition everywhere, in pretty much every culture. And just like with the visitors, the whole experience feels stable and makes sense. It's a journey, not just a bunch of random chaotic flashes.
All right, so if these things are so structured and so consistent, it begs the question, right? How is this any different from a normal dream we might have on any given Tuesday night?
Well, it turns out the differences are absolutely fundamental. End-of-life visions, they seem to be tapping into your core identity, the deep truths of who you are. Your regular dreams, they're more about the random stuff that happened to you today, you know, fragmented little pieces. The symbolism is big, universal stuff, not the weird personal symbols from your dreams. And maybe the biggest difference is where the memories come from. These visions pull from your deep, long-term memory, while your nightly dreams are mostly just the brain cleaning out the junk from the past day or so.
So here's the bottom line. These end-of-life visions, they're not just dreams. They really seem to be a whole different category of experience, one that's woven directly from the fabric of a person's entire life story.
Okay, so if it's not a dream and it's not delirium, then what on earth is going on inside the brain to create something so clear, so powerful? Well, this is where things get really interesting, because neuroscience actually has a pretty compelling model for this.
It seems to break down into a three-step process. So, step one, as the body slows down, the outside world starts to fade. Your senses, sight, sound, they get weaker. And that creates space for your inner world to really take center stage. Step two, all that mental chatter, the cortical noise from your daily worries and thoughts, it starts to get quiet, really quiet. And then step three, once all that noise is gone, what's left? The brain's deepest, strongest, most fundamental memories. They can finally come to the surface.
I love this analogy. Think about it like this. Your brain is kind of like a radio. And for your whole life, it's been filled with the static of daily life. Work, stress, what's for dinner. But as you get to the end, all of that static finally fades out. And for the first time, the brain can tune in to this one crystal clear station that's been broadcasting underneath it all along, the signal of your deepest self. So what are we talking about when we say deepest memories? Well, we're talking about the bedrock of your identity.
those really early childhood memories, your connection to your parents, your family, the huge life events that made you who you are. And here's the cool part. From a brain science perspective, those memories are the most efficient. They take the least amount of energy for the brain to pull up. So when the brain is in that final low-energy state, those are the memories that naturally take over.
So, let's put all the pieces together. What does this all mean? How should we think about these visions?
It leads to a really powerful idea. Instead of seeing these visions as a sign that the mind is breaking down, what if we see them as the brain's final, incredible act of making sense of it all? It's like the ultimate life review. All the static is gone, and all that's left are the parts of your story that truly mattered.
And because of that, they serve a really important purpose. They seem to help people connect with their own emotional truth, to come to terms with their life's big themes, and maybe find some peace, some closure. These aren't just random images floating by. It's a story with a job to do.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. What if our last moments aren't a breakdown? What if they're a breakthrough? A final, profound summary of who we really are, of everything we loved, of the entire story we lived? Something to think about.